It's one of my very favourite shows, you know. Oh yes, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. Remember that, starring the beautiful Jane Seymour? Well, I've been lucky enough to find this interview from a few years back now, where I sat down with Jane to talk about everything regarding her career. Not only Dr. Quinn, where she reveals some insider secrets, but of course behind the scenes of her success on one of the most successful campaigns ever for a Hollywood star to launch a certain product. And as she points out, her idea has been stolen time and time again. Without further ado, grab yourself a seat, a cup of tea, and enjoy the delightful Jane Seymour, who tells us what it was like truly to play an icon on the small screen in the world of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. You're going to love it.
Which side do you want me?
Which do you favour, whichever you like?
This is my better side here.
I think you would be better on this side.
He's so
And me on this side.
It's tactful boy.
It's quite a loud blouse I'm wearing.
Oh, don't.
See if it's... He glammed me up for a photo shoot this morning.
So how's it going with Austin Reed?
It's going very
enjoying
well.
it?
They re-signed me again. Yes.
That's good. That's
It
good.
is.
Let's talk about Jane, the businesswoman, because I was
Yes.
looking at your website, and it's an amazing website, first of all.
Thank you.
Recommend everybody have a look at this, because it's one of the easiest websites I've ever come across to work, because, you know, we were saying before about how, you know, everybody lives in a technical age now, and you sell yourself through that way. And some of them, you can't fathom out where to find this, you know, what to do. Now, you've got skincare, jewellery, you're an artist, an activist, a you know, charity worker, actress, I mean...
Furniture and furnishings.
Yeah. So how did you get into furniture and furnishings? And you know, from being an actress, what made you think, I want to go into this? And, you know, and it's been very successful for you, first of all. So.
Well, first of all, when I lived in England, I got art A-level, not that that meant anything. But before I got art A-level, I was at a ballet school and I wanted to be a ballet dancer, and my parents couldn't afford the shoes, so I learned how to knit and crochet and sew and embroider, and I sold my stuff to Browns in South Molton Street. So I actually had a company when I was 15 in this country.
15 years.
And then I sold to Kensington Market, and that's why I failed A-level literature. I got A-level speaking in French. I got the French part, the speaking bit, but I never got around to reading all the books because I was filling in orders for Browns and whatever. And in fact, what happened at that time was all women burnt their bras, and they had these see-through blouses from Cacharel, and Browns didn't know what to do with them, and I embroidered blue tits and great tits on each side. So that was how I started. I'm just coming very English. So I go to America, and when I was about 26, and I didn't have any money. And so I would eventually, when I made a little bit of money, I'd buy a house that nobody wanted, and I'd do it up, design it, and then someone would buy it completely done up, and then I'd buy another one. So I used to do that while I was acting. And then a number of years ago, a company in America called Saks Incorporated, like Saks Fifth Avenue, but they own 260 stores, I think. They asked me to design home furnishings for them. And I did that. I also designed women's clothing for another company called Crossing Point for 3 years, based on my paintings. And I have an art career. I make more money as an artist than I do as an actress. So now I would say that if you were to ask me what I do on a daily basis, I am either designing furniture and furnishings, I'm sculpting, I'm painting, and designing jewellery, and I'm sort of in design mode, and then all of a sudden my agent calls and says, you have to go and play, you know, this crazy character, and so or whatever it is. So the next one I'm playing a J.K. Rowling's kind of character, but a really mean one, like a sort of Cruella de Vil person, and I'm playing it English. So I invariably have this handbag that has my watercolors in it, my designs, and my lines. And you know,
I noticed that when
doing that,
you've got everything in this bag, like a typical woman. You've got
and the makeup and everything, yes, and the phone, and you know, sort of memorabilia of the children. And no, I love it. You know, I really couldn't stand it if I were just sort of getting up in the morning waiting for the phone to ring from my agent to say you may or may not be allowed to act in something. Instead of which, I have a really full life. As you said, I do a lot of charity things. I'm involved with women's heart health in America. I'm involved with child abuse is another big thing. And the other issue I have globally is water issues. And I'm about to do my third documentary about that. So I have this really fun life. I go to Congress. I help pass bills. I'm non-partisan. I get involved with humanitarian stuff, which is really cool. I design, and I act, and I raise small children.
You see,
And produce movies.
I was going to say, and
Yeah.
you just forgot that, and
I forgot
produce
that
movies.
bit.
When you say, it's fascinating because, you know, as you rightly said, a lot of people in the acting world just are actresses and they wait.
Yes.
And I think that can eat away at you if you're waiting for an agent to call, because they never call when you want. If you're
No.
busy, they're busy for you because you're active. When you take me back to when you said you were 15 and you got your first business. I mean, 15 years old to be dealing with, you know, South Molton Street and Brighton, it's a big thing to do, actually. I mean,
It
you're
was
very flippant,
hysterical.
but,
Well,
you know, like, oh, it's, you know, but it's a big company, you know?
Well, the funny thing is that they just gave me these blouses and said, do something with them. And I came back with them and they said, we love them, you know, how much? And I'd been told that you should always ask for double because they'll always knock you down. So I sort of plucked up the courage. And for some reason, I got way too courageous and I asked for triple. And they said, fine. Where's your triplicate order book? And I said, oh, one moment, I left my triplicate order book, I didn't have a car, so out there. So I said, excuse me, I ran around the corner to the first stationery shop. I said, I need a triplicate order book. Okay, grabbed it, wrote out the order, called up my mother's accountant and said, I need a company now. And so I suppose you have a thing where they have companies that are on the shelf.
Yeah.
Right, well, there was one on the shelf called Bill Mill, and that was my company. So I got myself a company that day, got incorporated immediately, ran the thing through, and
So really, so it's interesting because, you know, you're talking business, and
Yeah.
but people didn't, at that time, you would have still been in sort of dancing, acting mode in your mind. This was just like a filler, wasn't it? 5 minutes sort of thing, you know.
well, you know, it took a while to, because
Yeah.
I didn't understand that you're supposed to get other people to make it. I conceived of it, designed it, made it, and delivered it, which is what happened to the French A-level. I'm sorry about that, but I haven't really missed that.
Yeah, no, and
No.
you've not done too badly without it.
No, at least I got the bit where you learn how to speak it, because I actually played Marie Antoinette in La Révolution Française in France in French.
Yeah.
For my sin. So I did use the bit of the French bit that I got, but that was it.
Gosh. Now, as an actress, you know, we've seen you in many things. I loved you as Dr. Quinn. Absolutely loved you.
Thank you.
Loved the horse and cart thing. I loved that. How you got up there in that frock, I don't know. You know,
It was
looked
always a
tough.
challenge. You know, actually, you know, the little piece of a secret was that I had a pretty bad back, and I had bad knee. That's why I gave up dancing. And we started that story earlier. And so, I mean, it's fine now, but I can't jump off wagons very well I can't completely guarantee my left knee. So every time I would have to get off a wagon in a hurry, there'd always be a random passerby that would be there, so I could just jump up and get.
You seem to have like a ready-made man there.
I did. There was always a ready-made, you know, passerby, and you know there were tricks to the trade, and you know getting on and off horses was interesting, especially with all those clothes and things. But it was a lot of fun, and of course they never asked me if I rode a horse before I started the movie. Oh. And the first scene they had me on a horse, western saddle, which I'd never ridden before, accosted by I think 5 Native Americans, as they call them, all you know trying to run me off a cliff, and there were there was about this much space for the horse, and everyone was charging me and the horse was rearing, and I just kept thinking, thank goodness they designed a saddle with a thing to hold on to.
Yeah. Clutching for dear life.
Clutching for dear life. And so if you actually watched Dr. Quinn, you'd realise that I didn't ride the way the Western women rode. I rode as if I was riding English, but on a Western saddle. You know, these are inside scoop things.
It's lovely. And
Yes.
you know, I have to say, what I remember, apart from that as well, was you were one of the first ladies I recall launching your own perfume. You were just, I mean, you are used, but it was just massive.
Le
I mean,
Jardin.
yeah, the perfume ads were like mini films. You know, they're beautifully shot.
They were beautifully shot, and it was, of course, a French word. So I said, the name of this perfume is Le Jardin. And they said, no, it's Le Jardin. I can't say Le Jardin. It's killing me. I can't do that. But no, it was Le Jardin. Yes. De Max Factor.
When you did that, did you realise how big that was going to be? Because that was like, you know, now everybody has a perfume.
No,
you
it
know,
was big. You're right.
But there was, I think, yourself, Sophia Loren, and Joan Collins. That's the only 3 I recall.
Yeah.
And you know, you were probably in the States then, but when they showed that ad on TV, you know, my mum used to work in a chemist, and everybody would come and buy it just because of the ad, because I think it was the life we all wanted to leave, you wandering through beautiful flowers with
I was very
Misty
fragonard. I was in this on this swing with tons of beautiful flowers, and my hair was huge.
Yeah, 80s.
Huge. I mean, teased, curled. You know. I naturally had dead straight hair, and they've just frizz it out. And you know, every 10 years there'll be someone else doing a campaign for a fragrance or for cosmetics or something, and they literally reshoot what we did then in the 80s. I mean, I keep seeing it. You know, I think Elizabeth Hurley's done the same stuff, and everybody. So it's quite funny.